the template and save that to our photo album. So if I go to this phone stand presentation, okay, you notice on slide 4, I have a template that you guys can download, and that's actually in the handout folder in Google Drive. It's called Phone Stand Final. If I click on those 3 dots, I can send a copy, and then I hit save image, and this is gonna save it to my photo album, okay? But I also need to take a picture of my sketch, okay? I'm gonna take a picture of my sketch so it's my photo album, and then I can place those into the Fresco document. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna actually go to Fresco, okay? And I actually started doing this already, but I'm gonna show you guys how to start a new document, okay? So we're gonna hit create new, and we're gonna go all the way to print, and we just want it to be 8.5 by 11, so letter size, piece of paper. And if I bring this down a little bit, I can now see the whole piece of paper in view, okay? And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna import from my photo album my phone stand template. And this is the one I just downloaded from my Google Drive folder. So I'm going to zoom in to fit this in my document on my page, and I'm gonna hit done, okay? Now this is the actual template that we're gonna be using for our phone stand, okay? Now what we're gonna do next is we're gonna take our photo of our sketch, and I'm gonna import that in as well. And this, you'll notice, be on a different layer, okay? And I'm going to just place this somewhere where I think would be on my template. I'm gonna hit done. Now I can't see if it's exactly on my template, but what we can do is we can change the opacity. So I'm gonna click on those lines with 3 dots and change the opacity, bring it down. So now I could actually see my template, my phone stand template behind it, okay? Now, one thing is to readjust this. Oops, I didn't want to do that. To readjust this, I'm going to click on this little cross, and now I can resize it, maybe rotate it a little. Now, if it's not 100% on it, that's okay, because we're actually not going to use our sketch. We're going to use this template. And anything that goes outside the template is going to be cut off. But I recommend having your design kind of go outside of this template, because that way you won't have this big gap, this big space in between your design and the cutout, okay? So I'm going to show my sketch again. Okay, now what I can do when we're working with our brush tools, I recommend working with your vector brush and not your pixel brush. The reason why we want to work with a vector brush is we can scale this. So for some reason your scale's not right, I can scale it and I won't lose any of your detail, okay? If you use the pixel brush, if you zoomed in, you could see all those little squares, and that will make it blurry when it's actually cut out in our with the laser machine. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the vector brush. Now you can use basic round, you could use basic taper, you could use any of these. Basic taper is kind of nice because it goes thin to thick with your line stroke. So for example, like that, and it makes it a little bit more dynamic. But what I can do is I can just come back in and draw my design. Okay, I'm going a little fast. And also come in, take a paint bucket tool, oops, and fill in shapes, okay? So you can work right here, and you can use a sketch behind to help you recreate your design. Now, what you can also do though is, say, you know, you didn't really like your stingray. You just had a hard time drawing it. Maybe you want to even use a different focal point. I can come to my photo album, and I actually found this image online. I already put it into my photo album. I have this fish here, and I'm going to bring this fish up kind of like that, and I'm going to hit done. I'm going to work on a new layer, okay, and I could come and use this fish and recreate this fish. Okay. And I'm just kind of outlining it. Like so. Now again, look at, I'm kind of going outside that border. That is fine, okay? We could always come back and erase. And remember, that machine is only going to print, well, it's going to print your design, but it's also going to cut out that border. So let's hide this image behind. You can see now I have my fish. A little bad I didn't do the best drawing with it. Could have spent a little more time with that. But you can see I use this image to help me recreate that fish, okay? Now I could always hide an image as well, okay? Now what if I wanted to make that a little bit larger? I could take my size tool, bring it up, or maybe I wanted to bring it a little smaller, okay? I could adjust that. Now it's smart to work on different layers for different objects. So for example, if I go into my pattern, maybe I actually use a new layer and I create this pattern here. Obviously I'm just kind of messing around, but I create this pattern, go back, I could hide it, go back in, create a new, new layer, and I can create this pattern here. Okay, so there you have it. Take a look at the tips and tricks that were actually on the slideshow as well, the slideshow for the phone stand presentation, okay? And feel free to ask me if you have any questions. Have fun.